Hi everyone, my name is Sunny, and today's pick a card is going to be a pick a card in regards to how would they treat you after marriage. And in case you're like, well, I'm not going to get married, well, you can put this and apply it as a long-term partner. So if you guys have a long-term commitment or you guys end up like living together, switch up the, accommodate the question a bit more towards your scenario. So with that being said, I will go ahead and start with pile number one. Keep in mind it's going to be from left to right. I have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. So if you need more time, pause the video and then select the pile or piles of your choice when you are ready. And with that being said, now I can start with you guys. So pile number 1, you guys have the World card upright. Let me just cover that. Oops. The next card is the King of Pentacles upright and the 10 of Cups reversed. So I do think there possibly could be like maybe a separation from your family when normally that's the case. So like example, if you are the person who has to separate from your family, right? Because they live farther out, for example, or because they might not agree with your marriage. It's not always like easy to find people that are accepted into the family. Sometimes they're choosier, they're pickier with the partners that you have, and you're just never gonna make them happy, and they're not the ones who are married. So you basically would be marrying somebody because you wanted to and because you're committed to them, right? And you love them. Or it could also be your person's family. Sorry, that confused me. Your person's family. They might not be easy to love. To put it simply, they might just make it more difficult for you to integrate yourself into their already established family, if that makes sense. Or like they're just nitpicky or always trying to like maybe bring you down or something, or they always find flaws in you and faults that they kind of want to put it in your spouse's head that they should be concerned about. And that's totally between you and your spouse if there's ever any issue, but somehow they always want to meddle. So that could be it. Very easy. They might find you an easy target to pick on because of that. It's like they really just don't feel like maybe you're up to the standard with this King of Pentacles upright and World card upright. I feel like this person, whether it could be you, right, marrying someone, and maybe you might not be from the same demographic of income or social background, right? One seems to be more privileged and statusy. The other one, not so much. Not because the other one's less than, right? It's more so they maybe have to live below their means or be more frugal or simpler, and not that their like family comes from like spending money. I just feel like they're respectable. Like maybe they come from like a financial family or a family that has the same category of professions, and they seem to follow the footsteps and it's very secure, right? Something like that. And they just feel like you're out of that sort of element, and they're like, oh, like this person's just coming in and they're like not stable. So maybe that's why they look down on you. Or maybe they think of you like, oh, this person's just gonna take their money and like take off. Or this person's irresponsible, like they just don't know what to do. So they just think of you as someone who's not quote unquote mature, right? Not trustworthy or unstable, poor management of finances, and your spouse doesn't see you that way. That's just the prejudice, right? So I do think there might eventually need to be some separation between them, between family and partnership, mostly so you guys can have a much more nicer environment to live in, right? And I think that might be it. I think that you guys might end up traveling or, keeping to yourselves, being more financially secure, or even you could end up marrying somebody and it turns your world upside down where you no longer have to worry so much about finances, right? Because not that you still can't do your own, but rather they take the bigger like chunk of, like, let's say, bills that they need to pay, and they don't mind it. It's like something that comes natural to them. Maybe that's their way of showing affection. It's just showing up and being responsible and taking care of you. Or you could be the person to take care of them. That's not an issue. I just feel like somebody ends up being more of a breadwinner, and maybe it's a little dry, but it's still safe. I think you guys are there for the good times and the bad times. You're not someone that's going to be flaky, and certainly your partner won't be. I just think there might be some fluctuations between both of your families, maybe, or maybe just one family, but either way, that's not going to be an issue when it comes to your partner. Your partner's going to be someone that's very grounded, who takes their own opinion and goes with it. So if anybody tries to put their opinion over theirs, it's going to take a long time before that happens, because they're someone who's a little bit more stubborn in their ways. And if they love you, and they care for you. They're not going to let somebody else come in and like walk all over that. So I do think there's someone that's very scholarly, maybe very well educated, and I don't think they look down on you. Seriously, I think that they see you as respectable and someone who's worth the investment. And maybe they come from a divorced family, and you're like the marriage partner they marry again, or the second partner, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just feels like they are a very secure, successful person, but someone that's going to be stable. Maybe you'll marry them later on in age, or they're older than you slightly, or more mature and serious, even if they're your same age. But I do think there's someone that's going to treat you with respect. They think of you that way. They're like someone that I think they think of you as someone who's who can fill in like where they lack, truthfully. But yeah, I do think there's someone that might not have that much experience when it comes to being considerate of, emotions, but they don't do it out of malicious intent. It's just that they are very much like focused on things that need to be more practical than feelings. And don't take that as a personal attack, but it's something that they need to work on, and you'll probably work with them. But yeah, overall, I think they'll treat you with respect, and regardless if somebody else has outside opinions of you and them. So thank you, pound number 1. Pound number 2, you guys have the Six of why did I say that? It's 6 of Cups upright, the High Priestess upright, and the 7 of Cups reversed. So how would your partner treat you after marriage? I think there's someone who, let me take a sip of water because I feel like I'm getting a little scratchy. Okay, so pound number 2, I think that there's someone who would cherish the connection, because I think they finally settled, if that makes sense. Settling in the way where it's not that, how can I say this? It maybe took them a while to actually settle. How can I say this? It took them a while. It took them a while to settle in. No, I can't write it. I know what I want to say and I can't say it properly. They made up their mind. There you go. They made up their mind. Sorry, I could hear myself getting scratchy. So I'm trying to sound a little lower so I don't start sounding all hoarse, and I could hear. Sorry. I could hear myself. I hate it. I hate it when it happens. So they made up their mind to finally not settle, because it sounds so negative. They made up their mind to not. I can't think of another word to use as settle, because settle just sounds like they're settling for you, which they're not. They're settling in. It's just that maybe they had a bachelor or bachelorette type of lifestyle, or they were enjoying themselves, right? There's nothing wrong with that. They're living it up, or just dating every now and then, but not having too many formal commitments romantically. I just feel like it says, I don't know why I'm saying settling. They're not settling for you. You're not a terrible option. I just can't think of the verbatim. I'm sorry. I'm just confusing myself with that. Like, I can't think of a substitution for settling. They're just settling for the idea. I can't think of another word. Maybe you can think of a better word than I can. Let me just try to explain it. They're settling for the idea that you're the person they realistically had to. Oh man, I'm making it sound bad. They're not settling for you. Why am I saying this? They had to come off La La Land when it comes to the people they dated, right? Or the people they wish their perfect partner could be. The many options, like what do they want that person to encompass? And they came down to earth and had more realistic points of view, right? Realistic traits for their partner to have. And you happen to be pretty down to earth in that sense, that you are your own person, but you're someone that still finds themselves to be that right kind of how can I say this? That right kind of flavor that they needed. They didn't know they wanted, but it was more than welcome, right? So like, you weren't expected. It was a welcome surprise, but definitely a lot more grounding and a lot more realistic when it comes to choices that they should consider when it comes to having traits for a partner, which is much better worded than settling, because they're not settling. They're finally settling into the idea of not having unrealistic expectations of a partner, if that makes sense. So I do think you have a little good sense of like that. I do think it's probably a very healing connection. There's so much cup energy, even though it's reversed, it's like very loving and giving. So maybe your partner would treat you, or you could be, I just think it's mutual. It like comes back and forth. Or maybe one partner needs more healing than the other person in that love space, because maybe, for example, you could have like a Venus retrograde or Jupiter retrograde or something. Or you could have had very toxic connections with love, right? The connection of family, the connection of nourishment, the connection with another person, or with your own kids and stuff. And so this partner, or you come in, has a much more softer way of being understanding and approaching you, where you lack and need that assistance, because they had more positive experiences, for example. So there's a lot of healing in that. So I do think you and this person after marriage find this to be a very healing connection, and it's settling down in that way. See, I didn't want to make settling a very negative connotation for this, but it really is a sweet connection for this one. So I do think for you guys, pile number 2, there's a lot of love. Maybe it's like you're nourishing your childhood wounds, or it's like imagine like you got with your crush from like high school or something, your high school sweetheart, or that person who got away and you just never could date because circumstances happened, or it touches upon a very innocent feeling, right, that you didn't feel for a long time. That could be it. Your partner could feel that, so they could treat you accordingly. It's new, it's intimidating because it's still the high priestess, but it's sweet and it's very healing, realistic, I think. So this why did I say this connotation? This connection is very sweet and it's healing, but it's also mature. It grows from like puppy love to much more mature love. Maybe you guys have had a few years together before you guys decided to like jump. I don't remember the saying, but is it jump the boat? Jump off the boat? Jump. Oh, I think I jumped the GUN. I think that's the proper way of saying that. But yeah, I do think that it's mostly out of fear. I think that it wasn't stopping you. I just think that you needed to overcome some hurdles to, get to this place of healing with this person. So I do think that it might have taken you just a bit, not too long, but just a bit to get to the marriage part. Or it didn't take, for some it couldn't have taken too long, but I do think it was very intimidating to get married because you're like, what happens after? So I do think that they treat you much better than you anticipated. Very understanding, and I think maybe it opens up very creative flow of energy to be married to this person. They probably give you your own space to, have like your own studio or your office, or you get to have your own little bookshelves of like books and books where you can like enjoy yourself and like research, or just have a moment to like really practice, for example, your astrology, for example, or your artistic craft, or something that makes you feel like you're connecting to your higher self, and that connection to the spiritual realm, but also healing. I just feel like it's a very healing connection overall. So I do think it's a very positive connection for this one. It just feels like it matures a lot and it grows a lot from puppy love, or maybe a connection that you didn't think too deeply of it. It's like, oh, it's innocent, it's just cute, whatever, but it ends up being a lot more in-depth, right? A connection that's full of significance and deep talks and conversations. They treat you with a lot of respect because you seem to know a lot, or you grow into knowing a lot of many subjects, and they enjoy talking to you because you always have an interesting point of view that kind of maybe they didn't think, because they're a little bit more direct or grounded, and you just speak a little bit more out of the box, if that makes sense. So that's what I have for you guys. Next, pile number 3, you guys have the Hermit card upright, the King of Wands upright, and the Queen of Wands upright. So for you, pile number 3, I think your partner would treat you as their equal. Why did I want to say King of Cups? The King of Wands and Queen of Wands are their equals. So maybe you found your match. They found their match. It took a long time. Maybe you guys were kind of living like solo, or just doing your own thing. You weren't purposely trying to look for each other, like dating. Like you were just kind of like doing your own thing. Whether it came or not, love was fine with you guys. But I purposely think you guys are just doing your own thing, like playing the field, or maybe just flirting with people, and somehow you guys found each other in that way. But after marriage overall, because this isn't like, how did you guys meet? I think I went a little bit in that way in the previous piles too. But I do feel for this pile, you guys maybe become a little bit more secluded from others, where you're like, oh, sorry, I got distracted with a squirrel. There's a big, really fat squirrel outside, and I was just like, what is that? Sorry. So I do think you guys are more independent in a way where you're like, you like being around each other, but you also like your own space. Not because you are like, oh, I'm getting annoyed with you. Maybe it's just you need your own privacy, because like you guys are very autonomous to some extent, and you don't need another person, but somehow it's nice to have them around, and you're trying not to like step over. Sorry, that's my dog. He has allergies. I need to give him his drops in a bit. He's scared of me. So you guys have where did I stay off? I spaced out. You guys have your own needs, right? And that's independently from each other, but having that extra person is just a nice added bonus. Not that you depend on the other person, but it's nice to have someone that thinks the same and is your equal. So I do think you guys enjoy that of each other. It's like you guys read each other without having to talk too much. It's like your own physical actions just kind of speak louder than what you don't say, if that makes sense. But you guys are good at mirroring each other and just being an equal. It's like your other twin. I don't want to say twin flame. Very subjective to each person, but I have nothing against it. But it's not that you're each other's twin flame. It's just you're like a mirror to each other. But yeah, I do think that you guys kind of become a little bit more to yourselves with this hermit upright. I think it's like, oh, I found my equal. I don't want to look elsewhere, or like, oh, I don't really want to talk too much to like other people, like coworkers or your friends or your family. It's like I already spent all my life like this. I kind of want to just be more with my partner. It's like you and your partner do a lot more activities with each other because you guys enjoy each other's company. It's like imagine like you guys go on safari or you guys go on dates, you guys go to the movies, you guys end up going to the beach, or you guys end up like going to concerts. Like you guys do a lot of activities together like that you know are outside and stuff, for example, or you're just kind of enjoying each other's company. Even if it's not super active like that, you could just literally be outside and you're like, because it's wand energy, it's like imagine you're like dirt biking, or you're like surfing, or you're just like hanging out at night, or like with a couple of beers or something. Like I just think you're doing a lot more physical things. Maybe you guys are doing a lot of physical things between each other, right? And that you get where I'm trying to get at. Your intimate moments are your intimate moments, but you're kind of just enjoying each other's company. And how they treat you as their equal. They don't treat you beneath them. They don't think they have to protect you. I think it's like a mutual respect of protectiveness. You guys have strong boundaries. You guys are very loving, very like, I think you guys wear your heart on your sleeve in that sense of like you have a heart of gold. Like when you're in love, you're very giving. Like sure, you guys have your temper and stuff, but I don't think you guys piss each other off in that way of like, you genuinely upset me and I have to like protect my space. I generally think like you guys banter and bicker, but I don't think it takes it to a toxic level. I think that's just your stimulation of getting to know each other and getting to rile you up, so you stir up that passion so you can end up, you know, being more intimate later on. I don't necessarily think you guys do it for the sake of arguing and being mean and malicious to each other, right? I just feel like it's more of a taunting each other. But I do think you guys just end up being with this hermit card upright, meeting each other more on the older side, or just being like an older active couple or a good looking couple, like above like your 30s and 40s. I think you're someone that's very well experienced. You did what you wanted to do in your youth, but now you're ready to like be more serious and settle down with somebody, and so is your partner, and you guys have that same understanding. So I do think they treat you with a lot of care, super passionate about each other, super mad about each other, but I do think it's like just about each other. Like maybe you guys revolve around each other and like yours is world and like your activities, but very much like all or nothing kind of couple. Maybe you're like your Bonnie and Clyde, like one cannot be without the other. You're peanut butter and jelly. You're not stuck like glue. I also think of that country song. But like you just enjoy, you're like obsessed with each other's energy, that you're so full of life. Just very vivacious, very protective, very sweet too, but you know, full of passion nonetheless. So you guys could be just overall mad about each other, but still I think you have your moments of like full of energy and then you're like, ugh. downtime. Especially with the hermit. I feel like you're not erratic or chaotic. It's just like you understand that there's like high moments of energy. Like imagine like you get your zoomies and then all of a sudden it's like pretty chill and quiet. and you kind of like seclude yourself and like nap and stuff, but still within the same household, if that makes sense. So I do think they treat you with a lot of compassion in that sense. And I think you both understand each other and like to hear each other's problems and solve it too. Just you're good listeners, you're good at problem solving, and you're just good at being a good regal leader. It just feels like you guys have been through a lot but are doing a lot together still. Like you're just fighting for the connection, fighting against the world. Like not in a negative way, but just it's just you against the world kind of vibe. But yeah, they treat you with a lot of love overall. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you guys bicker, but I don't necessarily think you bicker for toxic things, just dumb things. Maybe you guys are just loud. That literally could be it. Very loud voices too, but that doesn't mean you're screaming at each other negative things. It's just you guys are just loud. Maybe a little bit obnoxious, but nothing wrong with that. I just think it's just the way you guys are. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. It helps me out with my channel, and I'll see you in a different video. So bye everybody.